Alright, welcome back to part 2 of the video series on volume and surface area. This example is going to be calculating the volume and the surface area of the square prisms. If you did not watch the first video, I recommend going back to that so that you can understand what makes this a square prism. Okay, so to calculate the volume, we're going to need the B and H. B represents the area of the base, and H represents the height of the prism. So in order to calculate the area of the base, we're going to need the value of S, which is going to be the side length. That's going to be 10. Okay, because the base shape would be this right here, where the red boxes are. It's a 10 by 10 kilometer square. And then we also have the same thing on this side. And those two squares are separated by a height of 12 kilometers. So 10 is going to represent our S value, and 12 is going to represent our capital H height value. Okay, so to calculate the volume, we need the area of the base times the height. The area of a square is the value of the side squared, so I can rewrite this as S squared times H in this example because we're dealing with a square. Now I can replace my numbers here, so I get 10 squared times 12. 10 squared is going to be 100 times 12 is going to equal 1,200 kilometers cubed. This is a three-dimensional figure, so when we're calculating volume, think about little squares, a bunch of tiny little squares that are filling up this shape here. They're 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer, perfect little cubes that are filling up this square prism, and it's going to take 1,200 of them to complete that job. Okay, so for example 2, that's where we're going to calculate the surface area. The surface area is going to be 2 times the area of the base plus the perimeter of the base times the height of the prism. Okay? And we can rewrite this equation using what we know. We know that B is the area of the base, so we know that's going to be S squared because this is a square. So we get 2 times S squared. And then we know that the perimeter of that squared is the value of that square is 4 times S times the height of the prism. Okay, taking a minute to define what is what value. Because we're dealing with the square on the side here, S is going to be this 2 value. And 3 is going to represent our overall height. So the distance between those two identical squares. Okay, now we can start replacing in values into our equation. So we get 2 times 2 squared plus 4 times 2 times 3. And then we can simplify and figure out what our surface area is. So we've got 2 times 4, so we get 2 times 4 plus 8 times 3, so we're simplifying here. And then 2 times 4 is going to be 8. 8 times 3 is going to be 24. 8 times 24 is going to be 32 miles squared. Okay, volume gets cubic units, and surface area gets square units. It might help to think of volume as something that's filling the shape, and surface area as the amount of like wrapping paper that it would take to completely cover this shape. So we're dealing with flat surfaces when we're calculating surface area, which is why we get squared units. Volume gets cubed units because we're filling it with three-dimensional figures. Okay, that's how to calculate the volume and surface area of square prisms. Stay tuned for the next shape on the next video.